But if we're standing in line, like Roy said, if you go to grab that gun for some reason you've seen, I'm going to shoot you. Hey, guys, open carry. You're a freaking idiot, okay? I really believe that. Do you guys agree with me?
100%.
Infinity plus one.
Well, mark that on your calendar. The gun cranks all agree. And I know there's somebody out there that with your undergarments are all in a twist. But you know what? Unless you're out on the open range or some special circumstance like that, but walking down the street, going into the mall with your open carry to, state your rights, no, you're an idiot. Welcome to the Gun Cranks. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat, along with American Handgunner editor Tom McHale and Special Projects editor Roy Huntington. Guys, this is a red letter day. We all freaking agree and agree strongly. What the heck's wrong with that?
I know. I can't I can't get focused. I guess the show's over.
I guess shortest gun cranks in history.
Well, we have open carry here. Yeah, we have open carry here in Missouri. And for some reason, it became really popular a few years ago. And, and I was seeing a guy on a motorcycle, he's carrying a gun, and you're in Starbucks and there's a guy carrying a gun. But after a little while, it dawned on me something. And the something was almost always, whenever I saw someone do an open carry, it was like an inexpensive gun in a crappy holster.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen what I would consider to be, like a high quality gun in a high quality holster doing open carry. Yep. And it's always these guys, and they're like hanging off their used Uncle Mike's $5 holster that's almost worn out, and inside he's got an ancient, whatever South American double action revolver with rust on it. And so I don't know if there's a trend there or what that means, but to me it means people who know what they're doing, who with good guns, who've had training, generally don't open carry, and probably for good reasons.
Tom, you're shaking your head.
Well, there is the point in favor of open carry that open carry absolutely unequivocally for reals,
easy
open
for you
carry
to say,
convinces rabid anti-gunners to become Second Amendment supporters. We all know that's a fact.
Said.
That is true because, like when the moms demand people see somebody open carrying, they're like, "Dang, that's a good idea. You know what? We should have more of that."
Yeah.
So there is that in favor of open carry.
You are so right about that. Yeah.
It's just like we got billboards around here that say, heroin users, you're going to die or whatever. And I know it's dark humor, but I got to laugh that some strung out junkie going down the road will go, I was going to go get another, dose, but that billboard said I shouldn't use heroin. It just makes total sense to me. You're absolutely right. And that's why I always say those guys, if you ask them, well, I'm standing up for my rights. Well, which right are you standing up for? Okay. Well, the Second Amendment. Okay. Can you tell me what the First or the Third or the Fifth or any of that? No, they can't. Generally speaking, my belief is the reason that 99% of people do open carry is because they're just saying, "Look at me, look at me. I want to piss you off." That's what it is. That's all it is.
And even if they aren't doing that, even if they really do think, I just want to have a gun. I mean, it's Sam's Club. Every once in a while, I'll see these like geezers in their 80s, and they'll have, a two-shot Derringer in some kind of an open carry holster.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if it makes him feel safer, that's fine. We're also a constitutional carry state, so you can carry concealed here without having to have a CCW license. And so that seems a natural to me. I have always considered open carry to be what, I'd like to take credit for this saying, but I forget who it was. Moss may have made it, he said, it's the shoot me first carry method.
Yeah.
And because I know if I was a bad guy and I was walking in to rob this bank and I look over and there's some guy standing there with a gun, well, if I wanted to, if that was my intention, I would shoot him first. It's like, there's my main threat right there. And chances are pretty good that'll make everybody else scream and fall down on the floor. But yeah, I mean, what was it? It's like the first opportunity someone knows that I have a concealed carry gun in a situation like that is when he sees the blinding flash just before they die. You know, they're not going to know.
And the other part of that scenario is, because I know open carry guys will go, well, there's been very few situations where that's actually happened. Well, because just the nature of the beast. But things that have happened are, I'm serious, give me your gun. That happens too. Yeah. The best statement to me is concealed carry gives you options. Do you choose to engage that guy? Okay. Do you choose to run out the back like a scared little bunny, which is usually the smarter move? Yeah. Okay. The thing is, if you're carrying open and a guy comes in, you are the threat. He's going to watch you. Even if he doesn't take your gun or kill you, he's going to watch you like a hawk. First time you start doing this, he's going to shoot you. Okay? I've always said, be the gray man. Be the guy that looks unassuming and completely non-dangerous. So that way, you can run out the back, or you can produce your pistol from cover and shoot the guy in the face, and he won't know it until it's too late. But if you're carrying concealed, that gives you that option much more so than, look at me, I'm sticking up for my rats.
Well, you know, the other thing, too, is we go back to the crappy holster syndrome that I was talking about. And, I mean, you guys think back to when you've seen open carry people. Am I not right? I mean, it's almost always that way. Yes, okay, I understand there's probably some people who have good holsters and good guns. But something that people don't think about, because most people have never been in a fight, is that if you have a gun in an open carry holster like that, and now you're in the fisticuffs for whatever reason, the odds that you're going to lose your gun or get it taken off of you have just gone up, you know, astronomically. Yeah. Whereas if you have a concealed carry gun in a good fitting holster and it's strapped tight to your hip, and you've got a cover garment, chances are pretty good you can roll around on the ground for a long time and not lose your gun. And I hate to agree with you, Brent, but you're right. I think it's these people do it to make some kind of a distorted statement about, I don't know what, their masculinity, and they hide behind the Second Amendment. They say, well, I support, it's my right to, and you know, but.
Well, they also hide behind deterrence. And the problem with that is there are a few cases where the deterrent factor works, but there are also more than a few cases that, like you just described, where they die by their own gun or become the shoot me first or whatever, right? I mean, I think it all boils down to what is your reason for open carrying. If your primary reason is deterrence, I would contend that you ought to enroll in the local police academy, complete successfully, put on a uniform, and go to work every day, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not here to be society's deterrent protector. I'm here to look after my family, and the best way to do that is exactly what Brent described, is to be the gray man and have options, right?
Yep. Yeah, because you're right.
God, I'm agreeing with Brent now. Jeez.
I know, this is a disturbing trend.
This is the worst day ever.
Well, you know, I think, because you're right, if you're really serious about defending yourself and your family, then you should be taking every possible advantage. And that first advantage is, as you said, be the gray man. Nobody will know that you have the ability to defend yourself like that. And then you should have a really good gun and a really good holster and good ammunition and have the training. To me, that's someone who's serious, and they're making a statement, you know? Yep. But yeah, if you're some schmuck and you've got a $5 broken nylon holster and you stick a $50 gun in it, one of you guys said, and it also offends everybody, which it does. I mean, I like guns, and I'm still offended. You know, it's like, put that away.
Yeah, Cooter, put your gun away.
Yeah,
okay?
Put your gun away. There's children over there, and an old lady over there, and a nun over there. It's what? You know?
Yeah. And Roy, you made a great point that I hadn't really even thought about, but if you've ever watched video of prisoners practicing, or the few videos out there of the real deal, cops get their guns taken away a lot in fights, and they're wearing what's called a level 3 retention rig. It's pretty hard to get that gun out, but people practice it, and just on the spur of the moment, they figure out how to do it. Do you really think your $7 nylon strap holster with the worn out inexpensive snap is going to hold a gun if you get in fisticuffs. That's just crazy. And if you've ever been in a fight and you're on the ground scrapping and punches are being thrown and you're rolling around, the idea of your gun suddenly skittering across next to the guy you're fighting just doesn't seem like a real practical plan for safety for me. But whatever.
And I've had that happen. You probably have. I don't know.
That's an awful feeling.
I was rolling around in the dirt with some bad guy, and when my partner and I won finally, we had this guy up, we're covered in dirt and out of breath and, cut face and all that. We'd get this guy in handcuffs, and I swear to you, this little boy, I felt a tap, and he was holding my 4-inch revolver up by the butt, and he said, "Here's your gun."
Yeah.
And I looked down at my holster and I went, holy crap.
That's an awful feeling.
You know what?
Awful.
I owe you guys an apology, because while you're here talking about cop stuff and fighting on the ground, you know where my brain went? I'm like, what if we exercise the First Amendment like open carriers exercise the Second Amendment? Freedom of speech. So I'd be walking around town looking at perfect strangers going, boy, you're fat. You got to be the ugliest person I've ever seen in my life,
Yep.
Who hit you with a board? Can you imagine what the world would be like if that was the strategy for acclimating people to the First Amendment?
We should do that to the open carry people.
That's where my brain went.
Yeah.
We should. Well, I'm going to exercise my First Amendment right. You are stupid to do that. And it's offensive, and it doesn't make sense in the real world for tactics, So.
Yep. I don't understand your tactics.
I think we're going to piss off some readers and listeners.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Guarantee. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I think
because we should be talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just, my mind is really racing here, thinking about all the times that, like you said, Roy, or maybe it was Tom, just that whole idea of, the million moms, the anti-gunners are going to, I hate firearms and I wish that, well, looky there, Skeeter's got his little cheap gun on, and, I'm going to reconsider my position. It doesn't work that way. It flat doesn't work that way.
And don't get me wrong on that. I'm saying yes, that's a foolish thought. But people actually claim that. Like, I open carry because I want to acclimate society to this being normal behavior. And I kind of get some of the logic there, but I don't think it works that way. I think acclimating people to the normalcy of that is seeing a guy like Nick Milley or the guy in the mall up by you, Brent, who solved a situation and protected a bunch of innocent lives by exercising his right.
That changes people's opinions. You're right.
Yeah, it actually does change people's opinions. So.
They just went,
and there was just another one in
Texas.
Texas. Yeah. I haven't seen all the details, but apparently, and I can't even remember, was it Austin or someplace? It started out as a terrible mall shooting, 2 people killed, and then we discovered it was a licensed holder that drilled the guy. And suddenly now the story's gone away because it doesn't fit the narrative, just like ours here in Indiana.
There's something else is that if you're in law enforcement, there's something called a use of force continuum, and it's an escalation of force use. So when you're just standing there talking to somebody, and if he clenches his fist, well, then you now will have to defend yourself against that. And if he pulls a knife out, then you continue to escalate the amount of force that you're responding with, depending on what the threat is. Well, in my opinion, if I see somebody in line with me at Walmart and he's doing open carry, I feel like the stress level of whatever that situation has just gone up a few degrees. And I confess, if I see that, especially if they're kind of nefarious looking fellows, I put my hand in my pocket, and I keep an eye on them until I am away from them and they are no longer a threat.
I do exactly the same thing, and that's something to think about. If you're going to demonstrate for your rights in Walmart, and I'm going to watch you like a hawk and try to remove myself, first of all. But if we're standing in line, like Roy said, if you go to grab that gun for some reason you've seen, I'm going to shoot you. And I know my capabilities. So, again, you've just lost any ability to do multiple things. You're going to get shot by somebody else. So it just, nothing about it makes sense. Nothing.
It doesn't. And sometimes people think they're doing good. You know, when we moved here, my wife Susie, who's also a retired cop, went to do some volunteer work with the Red Cross. And part of that was they got training on how you respond to needs, right? And so one of the things the Red Cross does is if you live in a dilapidated trailer and you're a crystal meth addict and you know and your kids aren't going to school and it burns down, well, the Red Cross will respond and give you a $500 prepaid Visa card in order to get you help, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, Susie hated that because she said, "Oh, why are we doing this? I should be arresting him." You know, and it's like, and unfortunately, when you get people like us, and I see some kind of scruffy-looking person, and they've got a crappy gun in a bad holster, and their dirty jeans on, and their stringy hair, and they're doing open carry. Well, it's like, you know, I don't know if it's the policeman in me or what, but it's like, it just doesn't set well, you know.
No.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mean to prejudge everybody, but we prejudge people.
Exactly. And we're usually right.
That's it.
You know, these things are based on prior fact and prior experience. So, so guys, what do you think?
Wait, before we go, I know what it is. It's profiling. It's as simple as that. When I look at somebody who's open carry, I immediately profile and I imagine who that person is, and I could be wrong.
So, guys, how many wildly, furiously, hatredly angry comments are we going to get on this video?
347.
Exactly.
I think a handful.
Yeah.
I think it'll be one of those. We'll have a vocal minority who's very upset by the topic, and most other people, I think, tend to agree with the gray man theory.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Which, unfortunately, as law-abiding, reasonable people, we tend not to argue with crazy people. So, but this is your mission this week. If you agree with us, put a comment down there, and let's shout down the knuckleheads that really think the Million Moms are suddenly going to change their opinion because you got a $50 gun in your $7 holster. You know, so let's hear from the silent majority on this.
That was harsh.
Again, profiling and prior history. You know, Roy, I know you've dealt with it. I have. It's you get a man with a gun call. Well, okay, first off, what's he doing? Well, he's just walking around the barber shop with a gun on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you walk in knowing that, well, first of all, he's not doing anything illegal, but he's out of the norm. So you're going to watch this guy like a hawk, and then you go up and say, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm carrying my gun. It's legal, and I'm, enforcing my rights. I said, but you're upsetting everybody, and you're drawing attention to yourself. Why do you think that's a good thing? And I've never had anybody answer that question with other than, well, I'm enforcing my rights. I'm utilizing my rights. Okay,
well, people are always from the South, huh?
A lot of times they are.
Yeah, I'm taking offense to this.
No, you're right.
Well,
on behalf
it's not the South,
of the state of South Carolina, where I'm sitting, I would like an apology.
Okay, I apologize to you, but it's that I need to come up with an idiot type of dialect that doesn't defame our friends to the South. So,
well, I know that there are officers in open carry states like Missouri who do respond to calls. There's a man walking up my street and he has a rifle. And that, to the uninitiated public, they may not even realize it's an open carry state, probably don't realize it's an open carry. So they just see this guy walking up the street with a rifle. And so now the cops who respond know that we're an open carry state. It probably will turn out simply to be something like that. But you're right. It's talk about that. It's like, has the stress level just been increased significantly for this contact? Absolutely. It's like I saw some. It was like the Nazi organization, like the KKK or somebody, and they were against this other organization of black people and they both were doing open carry across in a parking lot. And I just thought, well, this is going to end well.
Yeah,
I've seen that same video.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, what can possibly go wrong?
Do you think 99.999% of the world is looking at that and going, Good idea. That's a really good idea, guys.
Look at those crazy Americans again. You know.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, but I think we could go on forever with this.
Okay. Well, I'm mea culpa. I'm sorry. I used the Southern dialect or slang or what's the term for that accent?
It's like, what the hell you think you're doing?
Yeah. It's more the uneducated masses. So I'll try to come up with a better dialect for that. So nothing against my friends in the South, because I love the South and much of my family lives there, and I'm actually from there initially. So anyway, so don't get upset about how I chose to express myself. Let's go back to open carry.
Too late.
You're an idiot.
That's right. Open carry. Don't open carry.
Don't open carry. So check out gunsmagazine.com. AmericanHandgunner.com, all of our special interest publications, the Guns Magazine podcast, the Gun Cranks podcast, if you don't want to see our shining faces. And as I said, my challenge to you this week, if you agree with us, and most folks do, I believe, leave a comment down there, because we're going to get some real, you people ought to be shot. Well, okay, there you go. Was that good? Was that just some other kind of weird dialect? So
that was okay.
Anyway, okay. Well, let's shut this thing off.
I'm not triggered by that one.
Okay. So. Before I dig myself deeper in a hole. So, on behalf of Tom McHale and Roy Huntington, I'm Brent Wheat. We will see you next episode.